And I'm going to have
Trust.
you deed it to the Fuzzy Rabbit Trust. You're going to deed it in. All right, so it's going to go from your name to Fuzzy Rabbit. Now, when you deed it into the trust, you just don't put on there Fuzzy Rabbit owns this trust. And oh, by the way, if you're not aware of it, land trusts, they're not recorded anywhere. You don't have to file with the Secretary of State to set these animals up, or trusts up, that is. It's a private document. So and that's why a lot of times I use these for people who like to buy at auction. I tell them to buy in land trust because you just fill it out and boom, you got your trust. So you're going to transfer your property in, but here's the thing. You have to transfer it into the name of a trustee. Now, if Pedro and Maria own this property and they want to be the trustees of their own land trust, then when you transfer title into the trust, you'd put Pedro and Maria as trustees of the Fuzzy Rabbit Trust, FRT, Fuzzy Rabbit Trust. Okay, so can someone figure that out now that you're somehow associated with that property? It used to be in your name, now it's in your name as trustee of the trust? Absolutely. Anybody can figure that one out. And now your name's on the property, so those judgments are going to stick to that property that's held in the trust as well. So if you try to sell or refi, you're not going to get much benefit there. Might as well not even done it. So here's the solution. What we do, I tell Pedro and Maria, hey, you're not going to be the trustees. Clint is going to be your trustee. Okay? Yeah, literally, I'm going to be your trustee. I want thousands of these trusts all over the country. Some of you are probably going, the hell? I'm not going to transfer my property into your name, Clint, because as soon as that's how you built your real estate portfolio, isn't it? Right? Having suckers like me join one of these events or go to one of your seminars and they transfer your real estate to you and you turn it into a rental property. Right, first off, I'd lose my bar license, I'd be in jail if that's what I was doing, but it's understanding how a trust is set up that's critical here. See, a land trust is like a contract. Right? Yeah, I'm going to be your trustee, but make sure you have all the powers. Meaning, in the trust agreement, just write it up that you maintain all the powers of sale, or refi, collect the rents, the ability to live there. That Clint can only do what you tell him to do. And I have no other control. I'm there for title holding purposes only. So now what does that mean for you? It means that the property used to be in your name, and now it'll say Clint Coons, trustee of the Fuzzy Rabbit Trust. All right? Now, when someone's looking at title to that property, they no longer see your name on title, they see my name. But here's the thing. I'm going to resign my position. As soon as that trust is set up and you've signed your deed, I resign and I appoint you as the trustees of your trust. In fact, it's built into the trust agreement. It says whenever Clint quits, Pedro and Maria become the trustees. Now, no one knows about this because it's not a public record. The trust isn't recorded anywhere, so people can't read the trust agreement. The only reason they know there's a trust involved is because of the deed that gets recorded, transferring into my name. And it works wonders. I've been contacted so many times by attorneys trying to figure out who's behind this trust. They'll contact me, and I just received a notification just the other day. Somebody was trying to serve notice on the trust, and they named me, and I responded back to the city, and I said, listen, I'm not the trustee. You got the wrong party. They said, well, who is? I said, I can't disclose that. That's attorney-client privilege, but your name's listed on it. I said, I know, but I resigned. Well, then we don't know who it is. Not my problem. That's a you problem. Can't help you there. And so I serve as this blocker so people don't know. But what's more important in how the asset protection works is that now, when my name's on there, even though I'm no longer serving, in fact, when I resign, I give my clients what's called a trustee's deed. And it's a piece of paper showing my resignation that they're now the trustees, that when they need to do something, if they want to get my name off there, all they have to do is record it. And then their name appears as trustees. But the more important feature is that if somebody puts a judgment against you individually, that property is not in your name. That judgment's not going to touch that property. So you could refi it, you could sell it And that money is never going to the creditors. It's going to go to the trust, but it's not going to your creditors because the creditor's judgment only attaches what it is that you own. It doesn't attach the property that's held in the trust. Now, so does it matter who's the trustee? Using an attorney is by far a great way of doing this because you have attorney-client privilege. Now, other clients, they'll use, if they're using multiple land trusts, they'll set up one Wyoming LLC to be the trustee of their trust. That works as well. All right, so you have your Wyoming LLC as a trustee of all your land trusts because I gave you the idea if you're buying at auction, I have a lot of clients like to buy at auction and then they close in the name of a land trust with their Wyoming LLC as the trustee. I mean, we don't have time to go into that strategy, but that's a really cool strategy as well. It solves a lot of the problems that sometimes people who buy at auction have, especially if you're going to do HUD-owned properties. It gives you the ability to wholesale, all kinds of cool things. So you'll learn more about this when you become a Platinum client, you start working with us, how all this can play together and work out in your benefit, because this is what we do, and I hope you're starting to gain an appreciation. There's a lot out there when it comes to this planning. But to synthesize it down to show you how all this comes together typically, is that you're going to have a living trust right here. Okay, this is going to be your estate plan. It's going to be this big black box. Most important thing, because this living trust is going to ensure that anything that you're doing today and into the future or you've done in the past, you're putting it in your box. Because that box is going to direct those investments out when you and your spouse or you've passed away to your beneficiaries. And it's going to do so in a manner in which it controls how those funds are distributed to them. So for example, your Wyoming LLC, you have a Wyoming LLC right here, like we've been talking about, that holds all of your red boxes, like this, all flows down into here. Maybe you have a separate Wyoming LLC set up over here that has your savings that we talked about, and your stocks and your cryptos and things like that. That's all in that blue box. Maybe you've decided you wanted to open up a business and you've got your corporation inside of here. And then you have your land trust holding your personal residence. It's going to be inside of here as well. And then, your personal checking account would go inside of there. Your vehicles would go inside of there. Your RVs inside of there. Okay. All of your assets, your accumulations during your lifetime, your business interests, your things like that are inside of this box. And then when you pass on, let's say one of your daughter's going through a divorce, you think the soon-to-be ex is going to have a claim against any of these assets? Not at all, because they're not entitled to it because this is held in trust for your daughter, not for deadbeat ex-husband. He doesn't get any of this. These are her private assets, so they're protected from her creditors as well. So that would be an example. I mean, Carter and Carly, our kids. The other thing about using this living trust that I built in that I think is so important, I've shared with you the real estate and the businesses that Toby and I own, that we've created. Now, I was having dinner, Tracy and I were having dinner with our son, who he just passed the bar. He's feeling pretty good right now. He's an attorney right now. He's working for Deloitte. And we were having this conversation about a year and a half ago about the estate plan, because we told our kids, hey, we're going on a vacation, and here's where the living trust is, and it owns all these assets, blah, blah, blah. And my son thought, well, Dad, I'm the trustee, right, of the trust. I said, no, if something happens to me and Mom, you're not the trustee. I want you to know where it is so you can give it to the trustee. And I explained to him who the trustee is. And he was really put off by that, because he assumed that since he's in law school at that point in time, he's going to be an attorney, that I would put him in charge. Tracy and I would put him in charge of everything. I said, Carter, truth be told, I go, why would we put you in charge of this? I mean, there's a lot of real estate here, businesses. You have never run this stuff before. You don't even own real estate yet. In fact, Carly, she's already running a piece of real estate that she's renting out to students down at Arizona State University of Arizona, where she's going to school. So she has more landlording experience than you do at this point in time. So she would be better as a trustee. He's like, well, I'm the attorney. I said, you're not an attorney yet. You're just in law school. But more importantly, that's not what we're doing. We're setting these things up so that you and Carly can receive benefits from what we've done together, Tracy and I, my wife and I. but it's not something that your guys are going to be able to have spousal influence, say, hey, let's sell this. I don't want anything sold. I want it preserved for multiple generations. And so you're going to generate these assets will generate income for you. Maybe there'll be a time where you can be a trustee, but you can't take the assets, you can't sell the assets, because that's not why we've done what we've done. We want to create a legacy for multiple generations, and we've started this, and that's why we've sacrificed. And you wonder, why we didn't do things when we were younger. It's because we were sacrificing to build this up, but it's going to pay dividends to you. And I'm going to do it through a trust. And he was shocked. I said, hey, let me just tell you the way it works, Carter. I want you to be a productive member of society. I want you to go out there. I want you to invest. I want you to follow in my footsteps. But if you don't, and you choose, you don't want to work, you want to be a professional PlayStation gamer and make $8,000 a year in endorsements or advertising off of TikTok, okay, great. You know how much money you're going to get out of the trust? $8K, because that's the way it's set up. Now, we have numerous exceptions. If you want to be, stay at home, raise the kids, things like that, yeah, you get money. But if you just don't want to work and you just want to sit back and collect trust income, sorry, it's not set up that way. Because I'm not going to reward someone who doesn't want to do anything for themselves and be a contributing member of society and help build this. If you want to sit back and just collect, you'll collect as much as you make. And so that's what you can do with your estate plan. And that's why I think it's the most important entity. It holds everything that you've created. Make sure if something happens to you, that it's not going to be sucked up by creditors of your children. It'll always be protected. This is the ultimate asset protection tool when you're gone. Because when you pass away, that trust becomes irrevocable. And that's like hitting a brick wall. Creditors aren't going through it. So this is how the planning starts to look. And this is what we create for our clients. We have